NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Keith Eister. It is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live show. We got 5 games here on Thursday. It is the final slate before the NBA All-Star break. This slate kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so a much later start time than we are used to. We have a full 3 hours before roster lock here, so hopefully we'll get some news during the show, but obviously, those start times like we're used to having, we may not get lineup news. We did get, some information during the day about who may or may not play. Nothing completely definitive yet. Of course, Keith did the playbook, so you can go check that out over on Fantasy Alarm. He's got a good idea on where we're going to go with today's slate. Keith, man, how we doing?
Doing really well. Like you said, last one here before a little break, which is always nice to get some time away for us content creators. But we love the NBA, so it'll be sad to miss it for a little while here. But there will be all-star game festivities and all of that for us to remain occupied. But fun little slate here to close it out.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. When there's not NBA DFS, do you dabble into any other DFS avenues? Are you a PGA, MMA, NHL, anything like that?
I'm in the MMA streets every week, so I'll definitely be doing that. NASCAR's kicking off this weekend, which I dabble in a little bit.
I love me some NASCAR DFS.
Yeah, it's a fun sweat. It's a nasty sweat sometimes, but it could be really fun.
There was a 2 summers ago. I still got the screenshot somewhere on my phone. I was in first place with 50 laps to go in the main contest. I've never seen that many zeros in potential winnings. And then my dude crashed out at the end of the final lap, and I ended up winning like $400. I was like, so close. And that's NASCAR for you. So
absolutely. I've definitely had some
Martin Truex running out of gas last year.
Man, there's all kinds of things that happen.
Yeah.
Especially with
NASCAR kicks off this weekend though. Daytona 500.
Yep.
Our guy Dan Malin's on the playbook. So if you are a Fantasy Alarm member, you can check that out. If you're not yet a Fantasy Alarm member, we got that 7-day free trial still going on. fantasyalarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go. You get your 7-day free trial. We also launch our fantasy baseball draft guide and cheat sheet this week. You get that as part of your subscription as well. So get ready for fantasy baseball. Get ready for NASCAR. We got MMA this weekend. You can go ahead and get involved in all we got going on here at Fantasy Alarm. Our guy Justin in the chat saying, welcome to Takedown Thursday. I like the rebrand there. Carlos is saying he's ready for the break like the players. Our guy Don Easy screaming our names. Hopefully we are going to be good to go for today's slate. Our top price plays SGA at 11K. At least for now, Anthony Edwards is 96, Sabonis 95, Irving 93. Harden and Curry round out the 9K tier. We don't know though, right? We don't know if Curry's going to actually play. The reports were inconclusive if the veteran players were going to suit up for Golden State. Kyrie Irving and then the Dallas sort of like veteran players are questionable to play today. You did the work. Tell me about point guard, man. Where'd you look to go?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting dynamic on the slate because every team played yesterday. So every team is on a back-to-back here. Kerr did have that comment that said it's uncertain whether our veterans are going to play or not. So it would not surprise me if we see some more injury report related shenanigans as we move in towards closer to lock. So definitely got to be paying attention to news. At point guard, the one that jumps off the page right away is James Harden. He's been playing really well, has had a great season. Now Kawhi Leonard is out, has an awesome matchup here against Utah, who is one of the worst defensive teams in the league. There was some question on whether Utah was going to play their guys, but their injury report recently came out, and Markkanen and Collins were not on it. So we're assuming that they're good to go for now, I suppose. But again, I think Utah is another team to maybe keep an eye out for late adds to the injury report. But awesome matchup for Harden regardless.
Yeah, interesting with the Clippers today was Ben Simmons not being on the injury report. So there is a chance that he could make his debut. And then like what role and how he fits into the Clippers, I guess, moving forward once activated is something I'm super intrigued to see. Ahmed Thompson last night had a huge performance. Our guy Anthony, sometimes in the chat, I'm sure he'll pop in here at some point, was in here yesterday saying he had Thompson for a 62 fantasy point projection. We'll give him his flowers on that. He came out with 58 fantasy points last night, 18, 10, and 11. Still only like the third highest scoring point guard last night because Trae Young and then, of course, Jamal Murray went into the king of the court. If you played that, nice little $6,000 worth of free bets if you took Murray's PRA there. But Amen Thompson here against Golden State. 41 minutes in back-to-back games for him. I mean, any issues getting here today?
No issues at all. Really, since the Jabari Smith injury, the ceiling for Amen Thompson has just been phenomenal. He's had a couple of 60 fantasy point performances in there. Now Fred VanVleet is out as well. He fills up the stat sheet. He does it on the defensive end as well. So tougher matchup against Golden State, but that does not have me worried with both FVV and Jabari Smith still out. I think Thompson has a great ceiling here.
I would agree with you. The Miami Heat situation, they've basically listed everybody as questionable today, but not Tyler Hero. Bam is questionable. They've already ruled out Rozier. Duncan Robinson upgraded to probable. Wiggins got ruled out. So you could have a solo Hero today going up against a Dallas team that all of their starters are now questionable.
Yeah, really thin in the front court as well already with Anthony Davis out for a while now. PJ Washington is still out, and both of their centers are out as well. So really lacking rim protection. I prefer Bam if he does play, but if Bam is out, then Hero is definitely somebody you have to take a look at. He should have a ton of usage here.
Bam was one of my favorite plays going into the slate. Grande and I did the preview show this morning. We're like, oh man, who's going to stop Bam in Dallas? Right. And then maybe it'll be Kyle Ware. Maybe that'll be the day we go. What's the rest of this mid-tier look like for you? Utah ruled out Jordan Clarkson for tonight. So they do have Keontae George and Isaiah Collier without having to compete with the usage that Clarkson has when he's on the floor.
Yeah, definitely like both of those guys. It's been an interesting dynamic with Collier kind of the starting guy now, but George still playing heavy minutes off the bench. He's been over 30 minutes most of the time here, even though he's coming off of the bench now. They both fill it up from a peripheral stat standpoint. Both are great assist guys. George is probably the better scorer of the two. So with his usage in the second unit, he's a little bit more expensive, but I think he has a little higher upside. But I do like both of them. They're both in my pool. CJ McCollum, the other name that I want to mention with no Zion Williams. He leads the Pelicans in usage without Zion, has a really high ceiling here. As shorthanded, Brandon Ingram obviously traded away now. So it should be the McCollum and Murphy show here for the Pelicans.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely when you take Zion out of the picture, the usage rate for both of these two guys just kind of go through the roof. So I definitely like the CJM call there. Would you play Simmons if we get any sort of indication on what his minutes might be? I mean, he was playing in the mid-20s with Brooklyn. He hasn't had that long of a layoff. Do you think we get 25 to 30 minutes tonight? Or like, what do we think happens with Ben Simmons?
I would be a little more conservative on the projection than that. I think I'd have him in like the 18 to 20 range, and that's probably not quite enough for me. He's a guy that we've seen put up a ton of stats. Like he's live for a triple-double if he can get 25 minutes. It's just, I'm not sure in his first game with the team that's actually in his range of outcomes. I'll probably just stay away from Simmons tonight.
Yep, and I agree with you. I'd like to see how it works with him and like what position is he playing, as well. Yes. Is also kind of the question we got going on there. What about for the value? Obviously, again, Dallas ruled a bunch of guys questionable, but Dinwiddie was not one of them. He's $5,000. Would you ride some Spencer Dinwiddie tonight?
I don't mind Dinwiddie, but we do have Jose Alvarado right there in that same range. I prefer Alvarado. We saw him finally play some real minutes in his last night. It's been a little bit frustrating with the injury to DeJounte Murray. You kind of figured that Alvarado would just be the guy that stepped in and played 30-plus minutes every night. We finally saw that last night. So if we can get 30 minutes out of Alvarado here, I do prefer him to Dinwiddie. I think Dinwiddie's fine. Conley's right there too, as more of a floor play than a ceiling play, especially with that matchup against OKC. Bruce Brown, the other guy I have some interest in. We've talked already about how shorthanded the Pelicans are. Saw him play significant minutes last night. Didn't do a ton with them, but new situation for him. And now without Zion, I could really see Bruce Brown take on a role here.
Yeah, Grande thought that we might see Bruce Brown start tonight in place of Zion. So we'll have to watch, I guess, and see what that starting lineup ends up looking like, because they ruled out Zion, Brandon Boston already ruled out for them as well. So maybe we get the Bruce Brown start there. Any other point guards for you?
Chris Dunn on a passing mention because Kawhi is out. Maybe he runs into a couple of extra minutes. Not a great per minute guy. But if he's out there for 25 to 28 minutes, and there's really nothing below 4K that we're looking at. He kind of fits that mold as just a last piece. If you need somebody super cheap, not a guy I'm using a ton because there really isn't a ton to spend up on. We didn't even really touch on SGA because he's in a really tough matchup. That price tag is elevating. So most of the top spends I'm looking at are in the 9K range.
Yeah, I would say like if Anthony Edwards gets ruled out, you could maybe go like NAW at shooting guard. He's up to $5,000. Though we've kind of tested Dillingham a few times. Davion Mitchell had a good game yesterday. Alec Burks had a good game the other day. So like maybe those are some value guys if we get the Miami starting lineup and more people are out. But we'll have to wait and see with 3 hours until roster lock right here. Shooting guard. You mentioned McCollum. Obviously, Murphy has to be sort of mentioned in that same breath. Seen him plenty of times go off for big numbers, especially when Zion isn't on the floor.
Yep, absolutely. He actually gets the biggest bump in usage without Zion, Ingram, and DeJounte on the floor, and he's second on the team in usage right behind CJ. So tons of interest in Trey Murphy. We've seen ceiling from him recently. Anthony Edwards has been incredible recently if he's able to play. I know it's a difficult matchup, but that ownership on a 5-game slate is coming in at a pretty nice number. So I have interest in Edwards, hoping to find a ceiling game here against OKC. I guess we're going to the mid-range then after that in the 7K range.
Yeah, Norm Powell is the cover of the live show today. I'm kind of a Norm Powell truther. Grant and I have been playing him pretty much all season long when they really weren't moving his price tag. $7,400 now, it's a little bit on the rise, but you take Kawhi out of the equation and you go back to a guy that's giving you consistently 25, points per game almost and nearly 40 fantasy points in a really good matchup here against Utah.
Love that shout out, especially without Kawhi there. We saw Norm go for 50 plus fantasy points several times before Kawhi made it back this season. He's been ultra efficient shooting the basketball this season. So love that call with no Kawhi tonight.
Yeah, one of my favorite plays, I think, of the day here. Where else are you looking in the mid-range?
Jalen Green, I think, has a ceiling. Zach LaVine is interesting. He is shooting under 25% from three-point range since joining the Kings. That's not going to continue. He was up around 44% with the Bulls. If he starts getting some threes to fall, LaVine has a ceiling here at that mid-7 price range. And he's playing the minutes and the usage is up around 24%. So there's a lot of mouths to feed in that Kings starting lineup, but I think LaVine probably comes out as the lead usage guy when it's all said and done. Yeah,
that works for me. I learned to stop betting the under on his points. I was like, it's 21.5. Like we'll go under 22, 22, 23, and like 3 of the last 4. I just keep getting killed on it. So I assume like, there's a lot of scorers on Sacramento, and he just ends up being the guy that gets like the last bucket there. Pajemski obviously would be a really nice play tonight, assuming if everybody doesn't end up playing. 8:00 start, so we will know this information before roster lock here tonight. He's been really good in whatever role they've kind of had him play, but when he's started, he's popped. So I would expect him to be one of the more higher roster players today. Once that official information comes available.
Yeah, if we get some Warriors guys out, I definitely have interest in Pajemski. Max Christie has been really good with Dallas as well. Tougher matchup against Miami, but this is a different role than he had in LA. He's averaging over 15 points a game for this Mavericks team. They're really shorthanded, as we've talked about. So despite the matchup and the rising price tag, I'm still interested in Max Christie.
Yeah, I like the Max Christie call. Again, if they're going to rule out Clay and rule out Kyrie, Dinwiddie Christie could be like the 2 leading scoring options on that team here tonight. Any interest in Bogdan Bogdanovic? He made his team debut the other day, 18 minutes. Again, no Kawhi, could be a guy that gets some additional run here.
Probably need to see that a couple more times just to see what it looks like. I know Kawhi's out and there's a potential for him to find some more minutes tonight, but just don't really know what that looks like yet alongside Harden and Powell, who's been a great scorer this season.
Yeah, all fair. Again, Buddy Hield would be another one we'd look at if he was to play and the other guys were to sit out at 5K. I mentioned NAW if there is no Anthony Edwards tonight. We saw him be really good the other day, along with McDaniels and Reed, which we'll talk about. I agree with you. Really tough matchup against the Thunder, obviously, but some open usage there. We had the comment. Sacramento did sign Markelle Fultz. I don't think he's going to make any sort of significant play on their roster. Keelan Ellis has looked good. He's obviously coming off of a ceiling game. But I don't think Markelle Fultz is coming in and playing any sort of significant role right away here.
I don't think so either. I mean, who knows what kind of shape he's in? Hasn't been on a roster all season long, so definitely not taking a chance on that tonight.
I agree. Cam Whitmore could be interesting. They already ruled out Tower Eason tonight. On a back-to-back, he could certainly be a guy that gets up there. He's already playing over 20 minutes. We know what he can do when he gets sort of increased run, and tonight could lend to some extra minutes here for Cam Whitmore.
Yeah, don't hate that. Big per minute guy if he gets the minutes, so I can get on board that.
Anybody else for you in the value range?
I think we touched on everybody. Buddy Hield, did we mention if the Warriors roll some guys out, maybe some interest in Buddy Hield?
Yep, I agree. Maybe Duncan Robinson because he's upgraded to probable. If they're out, no Wiggins, no Bam, it just has an opportunity maybe to shoot. But another guy that is so up and down with that shot volume. So we'll see. Again, they have Jovic probable. Could be a big Jovic day today if they end up ruling Bam out. Small forward, where are you looking to go?
Actually a pretty strong position. And we talked about Murphy already. He has the eligibility as well. Levine is a guy that I liked. Thompson also has small forward eligibility. Yeah. So that's really nice to be able to fit him into some lineups. Jalen Williams is in a tough matchup, and Chet Holmgren is expected back. So I don't think anybody's playing him. I don't think matchup really matters for Jalen Williams. This is large field tournament only because of those factors that I mentioned. But he's a guy who can certainly find a ceiling. If Minnesota rules out Edwards, I certainly have interest in Jaden McDaniels.
Sure.
Najee Marshall is interesting with that shorthanded Dallas team. So those are the guys I'm looking at a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, 30 and 27 minutes from Najee Marshall the last couple of days. Obviously, again, they're so shorthanded in their front court. And then, again, downgrading Kyrie and Clay to questionable, would just leave, maybe potential ceilings minute opportunity for Najee Marshall here against Miami. So I like that call. And then McDaniels for sure would be a guy we'd look at. What are your thoughts on Laurie? 32 minutes last night, back-to-back games at 18 shot attempts. Certainly super encouraging.
Yeah, interesting trends there. Not a guy that I've played hardly at all this season.
No.
And tough matchup against the Clippers. I like the 7K range around him, so I don't think I get to much Laurie tonight. Nice to see a ceiling game out of him, but I probably don't chase it.
Yeah, the rebounds just kind of go away with this guy. He's been just almost scoring only, which is kind of a difference from years past out of him. Chris is saying he's playing on the showdown and tracking props, seeing Podziemski's props on the rise. Yeah, I mean, again, the comments coming out that they may not play their veteran players. I'm sure a lot of people are kind of betting up on the Pods numbers there, which is probably good because it'll jump even more once he officially gets to start there. Any other small forwards for you?
I think we covered it.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if you mentioned Moody or not, but he would be a guy that he probably get a pop there. Power forward. Again, I liked Bam a lot at power forward for this slate. We'll see if he plays. It's an elite spot, I think, against Dallas, given the state of their front court right now at $8,100. Again, we probably don't know if Butler plays or not, given what they said about the veteran players. Where are you with Chet? Grande liked seeing his minutes up to 25 minutes the other day. Do you think that we see increase in minutes for Chet Holmgren here?
I think he probably gets extended a little bit, but I think 28 is probably still like a ceiling for him. I don't know if that's enough with the Thunder now fully healthy. When he was crushing earlier this season, it was without Isaiah Hartenstein. So now that they finally have their full starting five in there, I'm interested to see what Chet's ceiling looks like anyway. So now that with the minutes limit on top of the fully healthy rotation, well, not rotation, but starting lineup at least, I'm probably out on Chet for now. I'd rather take shots on Jalen Williams. Power forward's not the strongest position today. In fact, I'd say it's the weakest position. I'm with you on Bam. He's easily my favorite play at the power forward position. And then the 7K range, they all have upside, but there's flaws that you can point out in each of them
Yeah.
as well. Naz Reid is the name that I have highlighted as a tournament guy. Again, tough matchup against the Thunder, but he's been incredible without Julius Randle. If we lose Anthony Edwards as well, then, I mean, it's wheels up for Naz, obviously. But even if Edwards plays, and even though it's a tough matchup, I do have some interest in Naz.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, coming off being 6th man of the year, gets put into the starting lineup, and sometimes you see players kind of struggle with that transition. He hasn't. He has just picked up his shot volume tenfold. Has been a better 3-point shooter than we've seen over the last couple of games, but the 3-point volume is elite. The double-digit rebounding, we always know he's capable of that when he gets on the floor. So, to your point, defensively, he's going to deal with like Chet and Hartenstein and Jalen Williams. Nobody likes playing the Thunder for those reasons here, especially their ability to defend the perimeter. But I don't mind that. I also like John Collins. Again, if they're just going to play John Collins and there's no Jordan Clarkson tonight, Grandi and I have examined the numbers when Clarkson's like off the floor, like everybody gets a bump because Clarkson just sucks up so much usage when he's out there. I do like John Collins a lot. He can give you a lot of what marketing gives you, plus he gives you the other stats. So you get him at $6,900 there. Then we talk a lot of the value guys we've kind of touched on. We did have Josh ask Coffee, Jones Jr. or Prosper today. What are your thoughts there?
That would be Prosper for me. Saw him start last night. I assume that he will start again with as many people as they are missing in that front court. 24 minutes, I believe he played. He wasn't great, but Coffee and Jones Jr. aren't exactly big per minute guys either. So I think Prosper has the best opportunity there.
Yeah, I got the 34 minutes 2 games ago against Sacramento. Obviously, you would have liked to see him play a little bit more against Golden State yesterday, but again, there's so few guys going up against him. I do like Jovic a lot. We've kind of been a day one Jovic play here with me and Grande. Good passer. If there's no Bam, they rule out Wiggins already. There's an outside chance he starts, but either way, if he comes off the bench, like we've seen him play big minutes, he can fill up the stat sheet. I'm definitely team Jovic here with the probable tag. So I like the spot for him at 53.
Yeah, absolutely. If Bam is out, I'm all the way in on Jovic, even if he does not start.
Yeah, big time. We'll see about Maktovic as well. Grande's kind of liked him. We'll have to see what that lighting looks like again with no Zion. If he starts in Zion's place, we'd probably be more likely to go there. But we'll have to wait and see. That's an 8 p.m. start time. Whether it's Bruce Brown, Maktovic would probably go somewhere in that range. A couple of questions. We did talk Buddy Hield. Listen, I think if Buddy Hield is active and starting tonight, definitely. If there are no Curry, no Butler, and you're going with like a Beal, a Hield rather, Moody, and that crew there, Podziemski, like you're gonna like Buddy Hield for sure with the offensive upside. And then what do you do with Utah? Markkanen, Collins, Clarkson haven't been playing back to back. So Power, they already ruled out Clarkson. So the fact that they went ahead and ruled out Clarkson, but haven't ruled out Markkanen and Collins, I think bodes well for their potential to play. But they are the last game on the slate at 9:00, so maybe there's a chance we get a late downgrade here in the next hour or so. It's something to pay attention to. Obviously, if they get ruled out, then you look at like Sensabaugh or Svi and guys like that as possible replacements in those matchups.
Yeah, I think most of the industry was surprised to not see Markkanen and Collins on the injury report for the reasons that Power mentioned. They weren't projected around the industry mostly until the injury report came out, and neither of them were on it.
Yeah, very surprising. So we'll see. Again, the fact that they ruled out Clarkson already and didn't put Collins or Markkanen on the injury report. Kessler Edwards, 33 minutes and 26 on the easy brings up here. I mean, defensive stats are great. He's been helped out by all the peripheral stats. Not shooting, but efficiently scoring. I don't know. What do you think we get anything here at 3,800?
I'm intrigued in large field tournaments, at least. I mentioned Chris Dunn as kind of one of the only options under 4K. I think Kessler Edwards is right in that conversation. Those are kind of the two guys. If you're looking for a super value piece, his name is in the conversation.
I would agree with you. That's probably it for me, unless like something crazy happens with some starting lineups here. Center position, Sabonis is 95, Şengün 85. Is Şengün a good play tonight? I would say so.
Yeah, he's been dealing with the back issues, so there's definitely some risk. He did play 38 minutes last night.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he's playing after playing 38 minutes last night, you have to think the back feels pretty good. We know
they already ruled out Adams and Tari Eason, so they kind of need the front court there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love the ceiling. It looks like he's going to play, so I'm going to assume he's healthy then.
Yep. Do you got a favorite of this top group?
It would be Şengün above 8K. I really like Zubac when we get there, but Şengün over Sabonis just because he's a little bit cheaper. I think they have a similar ceiling.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Again, Zubac, as you mentioned, against Utah, a really good spot for him at $7,600. A lot of these guys we've touched on. Gobert had a really good game. Gobert questionable for tonight, though. If he's out, maybe it makes Hartenstein a bit more appealing, not having to deal with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I like the Hartenstein call. I don't think I'll chase the Gobert game. Just not a guy that finds a ceiling very often. I do not mind playing centers against Oklahoma City. I think that's before they got Chet and Hartenstein both on the floor, that was kind of the point you could attack them. Maybe that's not the case anymore. So really tough matchup for Gobert. Won't chase that. But if Gobert's out, I do like the Hartenstein call.
Yep. And then if Bam's out, Khalil Ware probably going to be one of the more popular plays of the day. So
he can put up a bunch in a hurry. So if he's going to be locked in for upper 20s to 30 minutes, like that looks really good.
And it looks like I was wrong. They took Adams off the injury report. I thought they had previously ruled out Eason and Adams for this game, but that's good. Good to know that they have Steven Adams there. Maybe something to watch then with Şengün. So, but Ware would be a huge play here. If you get the full minutes without Bam, obviously the minutes have been trailing off in those bloods, but could be a big mid 30s guy at $6,100 in a great spot there. So, anything else for you at center?
Let's see if we can pull some other names out. I don't love anything cheap here really tonight. You mentioned Makovic at power forward. I liked that call.
It could go post maybe if they're setting all their veterans.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really messing around cheap. Misi is probably the one cheaper guy that I would take a look at. Just without Zion, he should have a few more rebounding chances.
Yeah,
so I don't mind Misi.
And low end double upside. I don't hate that one. Jordan, we talked Burks. If Burks in the starting lineup, I don't hate it. Again, they ruled out Rozier. Bam's questionable. Wiggins is already out, so there's a chance that Burks finds himself in that lineup. Good rotation there. And then maybe Dallas. They didn't yesterday. Maybe this go around they play some Kyler Kelly. If he maybe better matchup for him. I don't know. But they did not dust him off like they did against Cleveland, where he played the 34 minutes. So they are hurting for some front court help there. So anybody else for you, sir?
I think that does it.
All right, let's get a lineup again. We appreciate y'all tuning in here. Obviously a little bit of a shorter show with the shorter slate and the 8 p.m. roster lock, but you got to get in that Discord. Get the 7-day free trial that gives you access to the Discord as well. fantasyalarm.com/win. Promo code Let's Go that first month for less than $20 to get in that Discord. You can read Keith's playbook, and then you can get all the updates leading into the 8 p.m. roster lock for tonight's final slate before the NBA All-Star break. How do you want to start lineup builds here today? Do we want to assume Bam plays, or are we avoiding questionable players? What do we think here?
Yeah, this is tough because there's a lot of moving pieces still to on this slate. Minnesota obviously has a ton of injury news. Golden State and Utah are kind of teams that have released injury reports, but we're not quite sold that they're their actual injury report. So there's a lot that could change. I think we assume Bam in for now.
Okay.
He's one of our top guys if he plays. So
do you want to plug him in at the center spot, or we plug him in at power forward?
Let's go power forward.
Okay.
I guess we could use a util spot, but Zubac is a guy I have my eye on. Love the matchup for him.
Yeah, that works for me. All right, so 5,700. Let's see if we can get some value to kind of build around here. I think we were in on the Dallas plays, right? We just assume Christie's going to play.
Yep, really like Christie. Jose Alvarado is a guy.
Alvarado, yeah. Alvarado at 5K. 6K, small forward, guard forward to util.
Let's see here.
So there is Najee Marshall, Moody. Again, the Golden State plays. Cam Whitmore's 43.
Yeah, I think right now the safest guy is probably Prosper. I think we get some news where we don't necessarily need to go that route eventually. But as of right now, I think Prosper is a guy we can plug in there for some value.
All right, I like that. Small forward, $6,400. Let's see. Did we want? Let's get one of the Utah guards. Do you like Collier or Keontae?
Give me Keontae. I like the ceiling a little bit better, but definitely interested in both of them.
Keontae George 63. Yeah, Coach Chris saying Moody. I don't hate the Moody call. I think there's a good chance that he gets me. He started the second half for Post the other day. He's been really good. So that's 44. That gives us an $8,600 util, which Hero versus Dallas.
Yeah, just short of Harden. Harden is the guy I was hoping that we could find a way up to. So maybe we pull Zubac out of this one and go Harden.
Let's go Harden then. Let's do that. Harden.
He's the cover boy on the playbook, so he's my favorite play on the slate. But I do like Zubac a ton.
We'll go John Collins. I like John Collins here.
There you go.
All right. Alvarado, Christie, Moody, Bam, Collins, George, Prosper, and Harden. $100 left over. And again, everybody, it's 3 hours, 2.5 hours until roster lock for tonight. There's a lot of injury news that we're still kind of waiting on because we don't necessarily believe that Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler aren't on the injury report after they said, like, hey, our veterans may sit. So stay by your phones, have your Twitter notifications turned on, and, figure out where you want to kind of go with your lineup builds. Again, get in the Discord, get that playbook ready. This is it for us until next Thursday with the NBA All-Star break here. So don't be a stranger. Get in that Discord, join the family, and Keith and I, we'll catch you later, guys. Good luck tonight.